Welcome to Season 3 of Heart of the Gulch. On today's episode, we sit down with the owner of the Block Agency, Mark Block. In today's Walk the Line episode, Mark takes us to Nashville's most exclusive party at the W, the Block and White Party. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. My name is Tony Mendoza, your host, and today I'm very excited to have this conversation because a lot of people may not know the world we live in when we have so many great movies, so many great commercials, so many great magazines, and you just think that randomly these people that get on these magazines just pop open like that. Well, it doesn't happen like that. Let me tell you right now. So in the world of a talent agency, there's one, especially here in Nashville, that is dominating the market. And not only in Nashville, also in Denver, and now in Austin, Texas, my home state, and I love it. We're talking to the man, the founder, Mr. Mark Block with the Block Agency. What's going on?
How are you? Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
You know, we were talking about this. You have been in Nashville since 2006.
2005. I opened the agency in 2006, so I was here way before it was cool.
Oh, well, you know what I did? Doing a little bit of research, I saw that you originally went to the U.
I did.
Tell me about it, because I'm a big fan of college football.
Gotcha. Well, and I went there probably because of the football team as a sad reason to go to a college.
No,
but
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't regret it. Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. It's funny. Anytime you tell someone you went to college, you say Miami, and they're like, which one? And I'm like, is there really more than one? Nope. But technically there is, but there's only one that needs one letter. But yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. You kind of grow up really fast. It's, you know, you're 19 years old going to South Beach, and I'm old enough that I was there when South Beach was kind of becoming South Beach, really? Kind of like how Nashville became what it is now 5 years ago. You know, but what people don't realize is we're a very small private school. People think it's a big state school because of the football team. I think when I was there were only 8,000 students undergrad. And yeah, we were about 20 minutes from South Beach and Coral Gables. So you're in the suburbs, so you get campus life. With going downtown, I was a scholarship kid, got an academic scholarship, or I would not have been able to go at the cost of.
Got to give you applause for that, because I did not get a scholarship.
Shockingly, I was smart in my former life. I gave that up for Lent one year, and haven't looked back or read a book in forever. But yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. You know, we went to the pool in between classes. You know, on Friday, Saturday nights, you wouldn't go out until like midnight, you know, and get home at like 6 a.m. You'd have the frat party, and then you'd go out.
You have the after party. And but when you were talking, continuing this conversation, because the university, the U, is not as close as people think when they go visit Miami proper.
Correct.
And whenever someone goes to the stadium, so my dad, he graduated from the University of Notre Dame.
Ooh.
I was gonna give my dad that.
We're the convicts, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Was it the same? Was it around the same time frame as the convicts versus?
It was a little bit after. After I was there during the probation years, so it wasn't quite the same. It was right after all that stuff was when I went there. But to put it in Nashville perspective, Coral Gables is kind of like Brentwood Franklin. Mm-hmm. So you're about 20 miles. Miami traffic is still much worse than here, even though we complain here. So, you know, going to South Beach is much further even than people think than downtown. Mm-hmm. When I was there, downtown is not what it is now. I spend a lot of time down there now, and now you go to Brickell, you go to Glenwood.
Looks crazy now.
It's unbelievable. Design. I love Design District. Shout out to my people in the Design District. So that's where I kind of hang now. But when you want to go to the beach is another like 15, 20 minutes from there.
Yes, because you're also going down that road. Yeah, that road. Hell. Like I said, from the U, and then what did you study at the U?
I was actually a broadcasting major. Ironically, I wanted to be on SportsCenter as a kid, and so I looked at some of the. And Miami has top 10 broadcasting school in the country. They're not just communications. They have actual majors in the school of communications. So I was between there, Syracuse, and Boston University, and all great programs for communications and broadcasting. And my family grew up Syracuse basketball fans and Miami football fans in New Jersey because nobody cared about Rutgers. Sorry, Jersey people. And I thought I was going to go to Syracuse or BU because everybody went to Boston from the Northeast. And I convinced my parents to take me on a trip to Miami because my grandparents didn't live far, and applied last minute. And I stepped on campus. My mom looked at my dad looked at my mom, and they looked at me and said, "You better get a scholarship."
Exactly, because it's private. Yes.
We were ripping the BU and the Syracuse stickers off the back of the car. And I was always a big Canes fan. Just never thought I'd go there. And, you walk on campus and it looks like a Sandals, a Club Med. You have palm trees everywhere.
It's a different world, actually.
It's a different world, especially coming from New Jersey. And I mean, I stepped on campus and it was a no-brainer.
Now that you have the block agency in Texas and now in Austin, a lot of my alma mater, so I went to Texas A&M University. These guys are so tired of me saying that. But yes, so I know what you mean by a different world, because over there in College Station, it is a different world. No palm trees.
Nope,
but the people are just as pretty as the people in South Beach. Let me tell you that.
Oh, Texas forever. I am very excited. We opened in Austin March of 2023. And I'm a bucket list guy. I've been to some of the biggest sporting events in the world. Have very few bucket list things left. I wouldn't call these necessarily bucket list, but there's a couple college football stadiums I want to go to. And A&M and University of Texas are two of them. And so I plan this fall on making a trip to both. Got to be a little loyal to Hook 'em Horns just because we're in Austin and I have to kiss ass to the right city.
No, you don't.
Even though Austin's like Nashville and everybody's a transplant and most of them went to USC and UCLA anyway, just like here.
It's okay.
But I have heard that A&M games are
Well, you let me know. You let me know if you need to get any hookup for A&M games, because, like I said, alma mater.
I'm letting you know now. I need one.
All right, I got you now. Okay, so now we transition to Nashville.
Yep.
Okay, so 2005 when you relocated to Nashville, Tennessee, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, what was it like? What was Nashville like in 2005?
It was a completely different place, but it was still amazing. There was no Gulch. It was train tracks with City Hall was the name of the only bar venue. And there was one more and I can't remember the name. Downtown was nothing. Nobody went downtown unless you had like older visitors in. There was Tootsie's, The Stage, and Legends and Rippies, and they were one floor each. There was no door on the bathroom at Tootsie's. There was like a curtain that you had to hold. So if you had to do a number two, you'd run up to the Renaissance Hotel because you had nothing else to do at Tootsie's in the old days. We would always go to Tin Roof and Losers. They were the center of the city, and it was great because it was before Instagram, so the artists and the athletes could kind of let loose and have actual fun without having to worry about cameras, and nobody in Nashville was spreading words to TMZ or anything like that. I remember moving from the Northeast though, and I remember someone just saying hi to me on the street, and I was like, I don't know you. I was like, why are you saying hi to me? And then next thing you know, I'm saying yes sir, yes ma'am, saying hi to strangers, holding doors,
when I think about Nashville today, the reason why me and my girlfriend are not leaving the city, because I looked at Miami, I looked at San Diego. The problem with Nashville is they keep on adding stuff here.
Yep.
And it's always good stuff.
It's terrific.
So it's almost in a way, it's keeping me here. I'm like, next year, maybe next year I'll leave. Maybe next year I'll leave. We're almost 4 years in, and they keep adding stuff to this amazing city. Shout out to the W Hotel who's hooking me up all the time.
I love the W. We did our black and white party there last year. We rented out the
I heard
roof.
about that.
We'll do another one hopefully this year, hopefully with them. Call me. But yeah, no, same. I mean, I'm in Denver a lot. I'm in Austin a lot, and I love them both. They're both terrific cities. I'm from the Northeast. I'm at 48 states out of 50. I have 2 left to go.
Which ones? I'm pretty close too.
I am. Idaho and Alaska are the last 2 frontiers for me.
No way.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Congratulations to that.
Yes, I plan to go to the last 2, but everywhere I go, Nashville will always be home. Even if I go spend a couple months in Denver or Austin, Nashville has my heart.
Let's talk about why did you decide to build a talent agency?
And you have to put yourself back in 2006 in Nashville. There wasn't the kind of work there is now. People weren't coming here from New York and LA to shoot big projects. Major companies weren't coming here, weren't moving here, weren't based here. It was a lot of music videos, a lot of local hospital work, a lot of local jobs, which are still great. We still work on.
And that's something I'm guessing really helped you in the beginning when you were creating a talent agency. The community of Nashville, because I think we already experienced that. You talked about it earlier. Everyone's so friendly.
It's crazy.
How important was the community in starting the growth of the business?
But people are just so welcoming and friendly. And what's crazy to me is with people moving here from all over the country and even all over the world, once they're here, unlike other places, they assimilate a lot better here. I think because you kind of have to. Because if you're a douche in Nashville,
everyone knows about it.
That's exactly right.
And that's the thing about Nashville, I think, is such an amazing experience. I'll let you get a drink of that. I think that Nashville, our community here, I mean, we're in the heart of the Gulch. This is the heart of the Gulch. And so many businesses, entrepreneurs, business owners like yourself, all are able to meet and have conversations. It's not a normal thing.
No.
So shout out to, coming to the heart of the Gulch. And one thing that I'm interested in knowing a little bit about was the talent back then. When you started the Block Agency back then. Now we have Instagram's its own thing, its own business. TikTok's its own business. Social media by itself is its own lane. I mean, what was the talent like back in the day?
It's always been great.
Back in the day, I act like
it's back in the day. Yeah, it really is.
Almost 20 years.
I know. Yeah, it's been we've been in business 17 years. It's always been good here because you have people that come here for music, so they're natural performers. The South is a very attractive place. People in Nashville, take good care of themselves. They're it's you go to a bar in town and you look around and everybody's attractive. Now, people don't understand our business model is not just models. We have actors, we have real people, we have families.
You can't just look hot, okay?
Correct. No, we need everybody. We need people that can act. We need, all different shapes and sizes, all different looks. Everybody's welcome. There's work out there for everybody.
Let's break it down real quick.
Yeah.
So it's actors, it's models, it's stylists. It's oh my gosh, there's even
artists,
families.
hosts.
I saw
we have real families. Yes, that became a kind of big thing during COVID because a lot of clients were wanting to shoot, and it used to be you'd cast a mom, a dad, 2 kids. During COVID, everybody was so freaked out about pairing people and working together. They started asking for real families. So a lot of our talent had kids of their own. A lot of the kids we had parents that were good, so we'd start asking for real family photos. And then it kind of, now that we're in the post kind of COVID era, it's still, they're back to being okay placing, mixing and matching, but at the same time there's just a special chemistry about real family. So it's kind of its own little, and when you book resort jobs and hotel jobs and travel jobs, it's easy for a client to book a real family because there's less rooms. Kids usually don't get jobs out of town because then they have to travel a parent. But when it's a real family, clients are more open. We work since 2020 alone, we've direct booked talent in I think 42 or 43 states. So when, being in Nashville, if we get a call from, a client in Cincinnati, for example, it's a 5-hour drive. We're happy to do it. It's a lot easier for them, for the talent, when they use a real mom and a kid or, whatever. That's
it just makes synergy. There's synergies there. And, like we were talking about a second ago that, the earlier days of the Block Agency, I mean, was it music based?
It was a lot of music videos. I call it a lot of music videos and music adjacent. So it involved the country music industry a lot. Now that's a very small percentage of our business.
Crazy to think.
Yeah, crazy to think. Also, it has to do with music videos are still, unbelievably, great products and whatever. But, with the world, it's not like MTV in the 80s where Courtney Cox was in Dancing in the Dark with Bruce Springsteen. I just aged myself by like a lot. But I mean, that launched her career.
Yes.
Nowadays, just because people don't, when I was growing up, all you did was watch MTV.
It's not as big as a production now. So,
yeah, the people that are in that and produce them are unbelievably talented. The videos come out amazing. It's just not the same budget as a print shoot and a commercial. So that's kind of had to become more of a focus because the finances are better and,
there's more run and gun.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more, so what I'm where I want to transition the conversation in a little while is, the differences now with there being so much more media, mean so much more personalities, how challenging it is because back, in 2008, right, there wasn't so much, people having cameras, having conversations,
Correct.
and there being an audience for it. What you were providing is a business that got you in front of people so you can build an audience.
Yes.
Your clients are looking to build audiences.
Yep.
And now with so much technology, does it hurt at all the business with technology everywhere?
Instagram makes it a little difficult because a lot of companies will try to maneuver around you and try to reach out to talent directly to save money because they, you see the same companies that are constantly using quote unquote influencers, but they're trading them free clothes and then they're doing their ads for them, and that tends to be, but I get it. I mean, if that's what you want to do, or you have, whatever amount of followers and you're getting free clothes for it, there is a value to that, but it has made our business a little more challenging because we're kind of competing against that. And, sometimes we have to educate the talent that, hey, don't say yes to everything. Send it over to us, not because we're being greedy or because we're being controlling, but because we either want to get you a better deal or we want to say to you, hey, I know you're doing that for free clothes, but if you do that and then XYZ company shoots in town, you may not get the job because they may go on your Instagram and see that you're working for a competitor, even if it's just an Instagram post. I mean, we don't 100% focus on influencers. We do get some influencer deals.
Right.
We focus more on the models and actors that are hired by the companies for their produced shoots. But same kind of thing. And it's unique in a city. Like all our cities are the same. Our cities have a great synergy because, Denver and Nashville are kind of it cities, as well as Austin. We have a little bit of we skew a little younger in Nashville just because of the market. Denver, we tend to skew a little older as the 30 plus market is hotter there, just because you have Aspen and Vail, and they tend to want the look of the people that can afford
Austin?
it. Well, and Austin was the perfect mix for us because it was, I like to say it's like if Denver and Nashville had an affair and had a illegitimate stepchild, it would be Austin, because you have the outdoorsy,
Yes.
little bit hippie, craft beer vibe.
Thank you for saying that, because that's so true.
Of Denver.
Yes.
But then you still have the Southern charm, country boots, country music,
It's
feel
slowly
of Nashville.
dying though. Austin, and this, Austin has always had that weird Denver vibe, that funky outdoorsman. You're absolutely right. If there's any outdoorsmen in the state of Texas,
They're in Austin.
They're
paddleboarding down the river. But it's like Nashville in the way that you still have your, Texas Forever people that live and work in Austin.
Yes.
And then you go 20 minutes outside of Austin and it's very more traditional Texas, where same with Tennessee, you go out to the suburbs, it's very traditional with a cool hip city in between. So it kind of was the perfect mix for us to open in Austin because it complemented both markets and it gave us a pretty big footprint in the middle of the country, which then allowed us to get a lot of work in states like, all over. Because if you think about it, Nashville is a 4 or 5 hour drive from about 10 to 12 cities. They're smaller cities, but they have work, they have jobs, they have companies that are based there. Austin, you dip into Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. And then from Denver, you kind of hit the Mountain West. You get, we've booked in
places
Montana.
that people are not thinking about.
And people shoot in Montana, people shoot in Wyoming. We've done a bunch of shoots in Jackson Hole.
Gorgeous areas.
Yes, and then like Nebraska, Oklahoma, you don't think about it, but there's casinos, there's companies that are based in Omaha, they're based in Tulsa, and when they look for, there's probably local agencies there that are great, but when they need new faces or kind of have a bigger budget, they look to, and we kind of triangulate basically everywhere but the coast. So
Mark, you're selling me, man. That is that this guy's been doing this
Yes.
for almost 20 years, because you see, so that's the cool thing. But going back to our original conversation about the models.
Yep.
And I'm really curious about this because growing up, in my early 30s, I saw the transition of a typical model being on a magazine.
Yep.
Versus what I consider a model now is a girl that's on my Instagram. Talk to me about the differences and how important it is for those different types of clients.
Yeah, that's very true. And there is a difference between an Instagram model and, not everybody who has 400,000 followers on Instagram, I can book. Because there's all kinds of different things and the type of clients you do. Like I always say, like Prada's probably not coming to shoot in Nashville. I get it. So I'm not looking for a high fashion New York type necessarily. We have some because occasionally you need it. We're very more commercial modeling based. We still do swimsuit stuff and whatever, but then sometimes we might do a Cracker Barrel or a Dollar General, who are amazing companies to work with.
Shout out to them, by the way.
Shout out.
Dollar General, boy.
And one of my death row meals would be the chicken and dumplings from Cracker Barrel. So you can feel free to ship as many to my house as you want, and I will take a picture eating them.
You heard it. You heard it first.
I might just eat the dumplings, not even the chicken. Who needs it? But yeah, so, we're looking for everything. So where we are, we don't have the same business model necessarily as some of the major agencies in New York, LA, Miami, Chicago. Because for us, I can take someone who's a female who's 5'5", 5'6", and if they're doing a shoot for a restaurant or for a hotel chain, they're playing the front desk girl or, whatever, or girls' night out at the roof of the Thompson or whatever it might be. They don't necessarily have to be 5'9" in a certain size.
Finding the lane, basically.
Really
that's what you did. You
and,
found a lane.
And we get the type of work in Middle America that there's something for everybody. It's hard to explain what we're looking for. We know when we see it, but I'm proud to say I've been doing this 17 years. I've never asked or told anyone that they should lose any weight, they should change their size, they should change their appearance. I have one simple rule. You just have to make sure your photos look like you. However you want to be, I just need to know that when we send it to a client that they're accurate. So if you change hair color, you change haircut, you change appearance in some way.
You fluctuate.
You just need current pictures, but however you are, we will try to book you. And there are certain jobs or certain clients or certain stuff that comes in certain sizes or certain sample sizes, or they need a certain look to pair with someone. So if you're XYZ, you might not get this job, but you might get this one that person won't get. So, we try to be just very clear to say, we love you how you are, and this might be the lane that you're in, but I never ever. That's one thing that is very important in this industry, is that you should never put anyone in an unhealthy position. You want people to be, how they are. People will even ask me, "Hey, what color should I make my hair?" Or, should I have long hair or short hair? And what I say to them is also, Nashville, Denver, Austin, they're usually don't quit your day job market, so you have to do something else. It's not a full-time thing for every talent. So it's like, I want you to look how you want to live your life. Just make sure you get a photo shoot, and don't. I think too often models will be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to do that photo shoot next week so I can be in the best shape of my life." And it's like, that's a great goal. But if a month after you're going to get out of that shape, don't do that for your photo shoot, because then the pictures won't.
You'll always have to stay in that shape.
That's right. And not everybody can. I know I sure can.
No one
and
can.
I try very hard to.
I'm curious to know this. So the differences of a client in Nashville looking for work versus the client in Denver looking for work. What's the variance there?
Denver's looking for a little more athletic, outdoorsy type people, a little more hip, a little more, on national trend, a little more like, that vibe, unless we're doing kind of, more of a high-end hotel that wants like kind of a traditional high-end look. We recently did a big campaign for Marriott Bonvoy out in the mountains. That was a 7-day shoot between Aspen and Vail, which was really cool.
I bet that was amazing.
Yes. I mean, years ago, I remember we did in Telluride, a collaboration between Bentley and one of the ski brands, and Bodie Miller was in it, and that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And the talent got to ride in helicopters and Telluride and all that stuff.
You'll never really do that in Nashville.
No, and today we have 8 talent working for an outdoor sock brand, and they're shooting out in some of the most beautiful parks and whatever, doing hiking and stuff. Denver's really cool because of of the views and the type of shoots. Like they're just so
Scenic.
picturesque, you know, and you get a lot of good work out there because of the mountains. You know, we do a lot of car commercials because if you've ever watched a car commercial, you always see the car driving through the desert and then it cuts driving through the mountains. So they come out there to shoot a lot.
In Nashville, I know a lot of people that are working with your agency, believe it or not.
Okay.
And I think it's so cool that every time they've said, it's just the Block Agency here in Nashville has made such a commitment to the community. Talk about that. Talk about that commitment you've done to the community, or just the people that have come here and they're so proud to say that they, you know, they are modeling for the Block Agency.
That's a nice thing to say. I don't think of it like that, but I appreciate it.
It's what I see from the outside.
No, thank you. It means a lot. I would say that Nashville means a lot to me personally. I literally believe myself and the business would not be where we are if it weren't for the city of Nashville. It wasn't an accident. It was what we talked about earlier about just how awesome people welcomed me. I was a Yankee that moved to Nashville in 2005 when there weren't a lot of us here, and I was embraced with open arms. I met a lot of people that were pretty influential in the city, and they had no problem introducing me, helped me grow the business. This was a business that honestly was grown by the city, not by myself. And I really believe that, and I don't think it could have happened in many other places, or any other places for that, because a lot of the networking, this city was very a networking city. And, you know, I joke that the business was built with a tin roof, and that's honest to God, the truth. You know, back in 06, 07, 08, going out every night, that's how you met everybody, and everybody knew everybody. It was really like a Cheers. Same with Losers too, one of my other favorite places. And it was like, that's how you networked in Nashville back in the day. It's where the locals still go. And, you know, and I've also been very fortunate that we've just had such amazing talent over the years. And, you know, I like to say I gravitate towards talent that fits the agency vibe. We don't want the snobby models. We don't want the models that think they're better than anyone. We don't want the models that, you know, do the duck face and sit in the...
You're already doing it already.
I know. I do the duck face because I don't like my chin looking fat. I've become shallow in this business because I have to look at pretty people all day. So I'm like, one of my friends tells me I have body dysmorphia because I'm but I'm like, cool. When you stare at pretty people all day,
you're going to feel that. It's the same way for us too growing up.
Oh, kids today, I'm so blessed we didn't have Instagram when we were kids, because parents out there, I give them... Oh, it's a tough job because, I mean, I've been looking at pretty people in photos for 17 years. Kids do it every day, and it really does take its toll on you. So parents, take your kids' phones away.
I'm curious to know, favorite publications that the Block Agency's ever done?
A collaboration shoot with Zappos and Vogue, which was pretty cool. Just, you know what? Anytime I turn on the TV and just see a commercial our talent is in, it still gets you. You know, we have a great couple out of California that shot a commercial for Angie in Dallas recently, and the commercial just started airing. And it's always fun to see that. How long does it take to air typically? It depends. I mean, that one shot like a month before and it was already on. Sometimes it takes a little longer. The TV show Nashville was really good for us. You know, Courtney Hansen, who's been a great client forever, played Emily on the show. She was on it for 6 seasons. I think it was all 6 seasons. That was really fun to watch. It was great for her. You know, and having people in kind of different TV shows and movies and that kind of stuff has been... it's just cool. Rewarding. It is. And is it rewarding to you when you see these clients that you guys have at the Block Agency? Do you feel, you know, very proud to see certain names? Like, for example, you know, we haven't gotten to meet yet, but so like Shannon Ford's a good example, right? Is it cool to see, you know, someone grow their brand and themselves and kind of grow it into what it is today? Absolutely. What Shannon's been able to do with her Instagram is just so awesome to watch. She's such a good person. Her personality is great. She deserves everything that came to her. And it's just nice to see someone be given a platform and then capitalize on it. Because a lot of people are given platforms and can't capitalize on it. What she's been able to do is absolutely incredible. We also worked with a guy back in the day, one of my favorite people ever, Caleb Castile, who played football at Alabama. he got a movie in Alabama called Woodlawn, and he took that, and not to make a football analogy, but he took the ball and ran with it. And now he's a regular on CSI. I think it's CSI LA.
CSI. All you gotta say is CSI. It's a good name.
Not NCSI Los Angeles.
And
Sorry.
CSI, yeah.
All those blend. But he's just become a star in Hollywood, and there's not a better human being on earth than him. He has one of the most amazing families. I remember meeting with him and his mom and one of his sisters in my office when I was on Music Row back in the day. You know, so seeing people like that succeed. We had a little kid, Jet Jurgensmeyer, who started with us when he was 4 years old, ended up out in LA, was a series regular on Last Man Standing, was on CSI, actually CSI, Grey's Anatomy, all those shows, did a lot of Nickelodeon, did some movies.
That's crazy.
You know,
That's awesome.
it's really fun to see that.
So for people that are watching this today, that are thinking about going into not only your agency, but just an agency in general, I mean, what are some of the things, what are some of the traits someone could look to going into a talent agency?
I think the biggest thing is thick skin. You have to be ready to be rejected. You know, people see certain talent that works all the time. They still probably get rejected 20 times before they get one job. You know, when you're doing an audition for a commercial, there's probably 200 other people auditioning for that same role. So if you don't get it, it doesn't mean you didn't crush it. It means that you didn't get the job. You know, we don't always get feedback. We don't always get advice to give them. It's a matter of, hey, you got requested again by the same casting person. So that means you probably did okay the first time. Or a lot of times I tell people you may have been the best audition, but they booked XYZ as the mom in the ad, and you don't look like you could be her daughter, so they're not going to cast you. So it doesn't mean you didn't do a good job.
So thick skin, that's one thing that people need if they're looking to get into any lane like that, is thick skin. And what else? One more thing, one more trait.
And just drive and determination. You know, you have to put effort into it. You have to really try. You have to want it. But you also have to have realistic expectations. You have to understand that it's no different than football or baseball or music. There's a lot, like, think about,
there's talent everywhere.
Music industry is the best example. There's about 20 people in country music that are successful radio artists. But there's millions of people around the country that make a living in the music business. That's the type of agency we tend to be. Now, do some people go on to that level of being the superstar? Yes. But our focus is on the people that can make a living or make a side hustle doing commercial, doing whatever, but they're not a household name. When people ask me who our clients are, I'm like, you might not know their names, but you've probably seen them on a billboard, on a commercial, in a print ad or something. So, you know, and think about music. You can be a wedding singer. You could be play at Tootsie's downtown, or you can be a music teacher at a school. All are amazing, respectable professions. It doesn't mean you're Tim McGraw, but you're making a living doing the job. And that's the type of work we do, and we're proud of it.
I love that. Okay, so this is a great stopping point to get to these questions. Let's get to these questions right now here in Crowd Noise.
Let's do it.
Mark, how do you handle so many different personalities within your agency? Is it challenging?
I think I know, but I'm not sure.
All right, don't say any. Don't hurt anybody's thing.
Yeah. So how do I handle so many different personalities? Definitely one of the challenges of the job. It's like having, between all three markets, 600 kids. Well, I probably can't have kids of my own because I have enough. You just have to learn, how different people are. That's why it's important to me to make sure I've met and know everybody in the agency, and to know, who, whatever. And, people also have to deal with my personality, which isn't always easy. So it's a trade-off. But, it's part of the job. Managing personalities is kind of probably a bigger part of the job than actually booking talent. But the one thing is, I try not to sign people that I can't get along with their personality or don't like their personality. Do I need to be best friends with everybody? Absolutely not. In my older age, I just don't have time to go out with everybody like I used to. I used to hang out with the talent a lot more. Now I'm asleep by 8 o'clock.
That gets me
except
in
for
a
tonight
plus.
because Vanderpump Rules will be on. But priorities, But no, I mean, the best way to handle it is to make sure that you only sign people with personalities you think you can get along with to begin with.
And then, I mean, also when you're talking about personalities and just having to deal with so many, you said 600 clients.
Yeah, and that goes for kids, for models, for actors, for stylists. The entirety. Some people work once a year, some people work once a week. But yeah, it's a lot of different people to juggle.
And then also, you know, talk about, I'm guessing, is it just you or is it a huge team?
We have a team.
It's a huge team. And talk about the team.
Not a huge team. We're pretty lean. Carol runs the Denver office. Rob is one of our main agents who's great. Jack works in the Nashville office. Michael works in the Austin office. If you look at other agencies, they probably have more employees in one market than we have in 3 combined. But it's how we work. Everyone's such a hard worker and takes on more responsibility. And I tend to like it that way because, you know, you want hungry people that are going to work their butt off as opposed to having a lot of people that aren't going to do much just so you could say you have, you know, more people. We get it done.
So, okay, we got another question here. So let's see this question.
Since the blog agency has had talent from all sectors of the entertainment industry, what industry is the toughest to break through for a client to be successful?
Sounded like a robot.
Yeah.
You want to hear it one more time?
Yeah.
All right.
Since the blog agency has had talent from all sectors of the entertainment industry, what industry is the toughest to break through for a client to be successful?
I mean, I think the toughest to break into is film and TV for sure. Commercials have, you know, you don't necessarily have to have the acting training and the acting chops, and there's just more opportunities. There's more that shoots. Film and TV tends to be a little more, you need a little more training. You can't just kind of wing it, you know, and everybody wants to do it. So it's, the roles are a lot more competitive than a commercial where you might get booked off a headshot or a quick go-see or something.
What are some of the prerequisites? I mean, for someone who's interested in getting on TV and someone who's interested, what are some prerequisites that people can do that are watching this that can maybe help?
You know, I think it's, again, swinging back to Nashville, it's like the music industry. There's some, you know, very successful musicians that are very famous that might not have the best voice, but they're great performers, or they were self-trained,
or just got lucky,
or
sometimes.
they were in the right place at the right time and got discovered. It's the exact same with actors. There's some people that are probably some of the best actors in the world, have trained for years. They don't get that right break. They just haven't been called for the right role. They didn't get a fair shake. Same with Nashville. I mean, sometimes you're in the airport at Tootsie's and you're like, that guy singing has a much better voice than half of the people on the radio without auto-tune, without producing and anything. But he did not get seen by the right person, or he just did not get the break, or he just didn't have the look they wanted, or, you know, whatever at the time. So, you know, honestly, it's 50% work, hard work, 50% right time, right place, luck.
And mix. Then I want to talk about some events. So you talked about it earlier. So one party that I wish that I saw was the white party at the W.
Block and White.
Oh, Block and White. Okay, I'm sorry.
We used to do it from 2008 to 18 for the Jay Cutler Foundation, which we did during the Bears bye week. Yeah, and then, you know, it kind of went away when, you know, Denver happened and everything, and I wasn't in town, and, you know, we didn't have the foundation for it. To donate to. And then last year we decided to bring it back. And it was funny to me because for 10 years, quote unquote, everybody in town knew about it. It was like a kind of big social event. People got excited for it every year. And taking 4 years away, you don't realize how many new people you have at the agency, how many new people came to Nashville. And when I posted, I thought everybody would just know about it. But my generation got old and most people didn't understand what it was or what the deal was.
I don't think so.
And it's hard to explain, but we did it. We always do it for a charity. And then we, this year we rented out the roof of the W, and, you know, it's basically a dress up party that's just meant to be fun. Everybody wears black and white, and, you know, we get a DJ, Cisco DJ this year.
Shout out to Cisco, one of our alumni, yo.
You know, so it was really cool and fun, and I was very, very happy. You know, I think we had over 350 people there.
It was, and honestly, and this is from, like I said, before I created the show, before I did all this, that was the party to be seen at, was that party, the block party that was inside the W. And honestly, it looked like a fun time. And, you know, I think people that are watching this today that are showing the show, because all the people that were at the party watched the show.
Yep.
So I think it's so cool that that you guys had that party for so long.
Yep.
And then brought it back. And it made just as big as an impact. You may not see it.
It's the new generation.
The new generation, my generation.
And I love the idea of Nashville's not a dress-up town. I can wear crunchy shorts and a t-shirt and go to the nicest restaurant in town. It's nice once a year. I mean, obviously more than that. But to have an event where people have an excuse to get dressed up, and we keep it very simple, black and white, so nobody has to go buy something new, or though most people do, and it's easy, it's nothing crazy, and you know, it's not like, you know, a roaring 20s party or something too costumey, so you can kind of look your best without having to, you know, crush it.
I love it. All right, so we got to the point now where I ask my final two questions,
okay,
and then we do something called Walk the Line. Walk the Line is your day in the life. That's what makes us a little different here in the Heart of the Gulch, is that it's not just a podcast, it's not just a YouTube show. I go in and I see what you do from their lens, and that's what makes it all tie together. But the questions that I got, and I'm going to twist this one up around a little bit. It's always about hate. So, you know, having doubters, having haters, but then also let's talk about clients too, where clients may get to a certain point and then leave the agency to another agency. Talk about how you're able to cope with that.
I'm sure I have haters. I probably have more than I know. Back to my housewives, as Ramona Singer once famously said, I'm an acquired taste. If you don't like me, acquire some taste. I'm kidding. Not really. Kind of. No, but you know, listen, there's people that everybody doesn't like, and I'm sure I got plenty of them out there. If they don't like me, they don't like me. There's a lot of people I don't like, but you know, I keep it to myself. You learn as you
turning to Southern right there.
I know. Bless their heart.
Bless their heart.
As you get older, you realize not everyone's going to like you. You don't need to like everybody, but you should respect people whether you like them or not. And you know, keep your opinion somewhat to yourself. There's no need to put someone on blast. As for talent leaving the agency, truthfully, we don't have that much of that. A lot of talent that leaves the agency just moves on in life. They're either moving or they've realized, you know what, their other job is taking off. They don't need the side income. They don't have the time to put into it. We have had some people leave because they're not happy. At the end of the day, you know, if someone's not working, I'm okay with it because we only make money if they make money. We're a commission-based agency. And, you know, if they're not working, you know, I want them to go try and find something else. A lot of the times we've had people leave and then they try to come back. That's my one rule is we'll let you out of your contract, you know, go do your thing, but don't come back 3 months later when you realize that there's not more work somewhere else. And that's what it is. It's a loyalty thing more than anything else. And I never take it personally. I've said to people over the years, if they've tried to come back and I say, hey, unfortunately, that's not going to happen, only because if I let one person do it, then everyone can leave. When things get slow and then they can come back, or if they're not working.
That's why we don't do online interviews.
Right.
Because once you do it one time,
you have to do it for everybody.
Exactly.
And it's like, you know what, if you know, if you think you can do better somewhere else, high five, God bless you. I don't think you can, because I think we work so hard for our talent. And you know, it's not personal. If I see you out, I'll cheers you. I'll wish you the best. But you know, maybe it wasn't the right fit. And sometimes I'm wrong. You know, there have been talent that's emailed and maybe it was a bad day. Maybe I wasn't looking for talent that day, or maybe I wasn't in the right mind space. You know, I was busy, I was looking, and they emailed that day their pictures and I didn't think they were right. And then I see them down the road with someone else. I'm like, oh, you know what? I missed that one. So just because we don't respond, just because we don't sign you, doesn't mean you're not great. It just means at certain times we need certain people, or we had 5 other people that look like you. And when I ask for loyalty, I try to give loyalty. So I don't want 20 people that look the same. It's not fair to the 19 that have been with me for 10 years. So, you know, that's a good thing to kind of get out in the universe, is just because I either reject you or don't respond to you doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean you're not fabulous. Doesn't mean that you're not going to totally crush it and I'm going to regret it. It just means that that day when you reached out, you weren't either the right fit, or we had someone else that was too similar, or whatever it might be. I by no means think I'm right all the time. I'm probably not right most of the time. So I always say to people, you know, just because we didn't say yes doesn't mean you're not amazing. It just means I wasn't looking for that at a certain time.
I love it.
Yeah.
You killed that little moment right there. That was nice. All right. So my last question before we go to your day in the life is, what are you looking forward to in 2023 and the top of 2024?
You know, what I'm really looking forward to is growing Austin. The trajectory of Nashville and Denver has been terrific. I like where they are. I want them to continue where they are. I've been very amazed by, at this point in time, we've only been open for 2.5, 3 months in Austin, and it's moved a lot faster than I expected. It's a great city. We've been very, very, very welcome there by the people we've gotten to
How was
meet.
the open calls, by the way?
It was terrific. We've done an open call December of 2022 before we opened, and we did one
May
in
5th, right?
May of this year. We had a great turnout. We had some awesome people. We couldn't take everybody, and same thing. Some of them were great. They just weren't what we seemed to be booking there, and we had to be a little judicious, being new, that we couldn't bring on too many people. But I really am excited to see where Austin goes, and really getting to know Texas better and spending more time there, and maybe some time this summer and fall in Lake Travis.
Walk the line is like Johnny Cash, right? Instead of saying, this is my day in the life, I would say, and this is how I walk the line. Okay. So right after the applause, I'm going to give you the signal, all right? In 3.
I'm Mark Block from the Block Agency, and this is how I walk the line.
Hey!